John had always dreamt of owning a sleek, black sports car. It was his ultimate fantasy, but financial constraints had kept it just out of reach. Late one evening, as he scrolled through Craigslist, he stumbled upon a listing that seemed too good to be true, the car of his dreams at a reasonable price. Excitement surged through him as he reached out to the seller, a person named Richard. The two exchanged messages, and Richard suggested they meet at a remote farm out in the countryside to finalize the deal. The following Saturday, John made the long drive to the desolate farm. As he parked his old, beaten-up sedan near the rendezvous point, he couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. The farm seemed abandoned, its fields overgrown with tall grass and weeds. Moments later, a tall, wiry man emerged from the shadows, his eyes hidden behind a pair of dark sunglasses. He introduced himself as Richard and led John to the car, which gleamed in the fading sunlight. The car was everything John had ever wanted, and Richard's asking price was unbelievably low. The deal was too tempting to pass up, and without much thought, John agreed to the purchase. But as he reached for his wallet to make the payment, Richard's demeanor changed. His smile twisted into a sinister grin, and he said, "I have a condition. Before you can take the car, you have to meet someone." John's heart pounded with fear, and he demanded an explanation. Richard gestured toward an old barn nearby and explained that there was someone inside who needed to be seen. Reluctantly, John followed Richard into the dimly lit barn. The smell of hay and decay hung heavily in the air. In a dark corner of the barn, he saw her, a young woman, bound and gagged, her eyes filled with terror. "What's going on here?" John demanded, his voice trembling. Richard's grin widened, and he revealed his true, horrifying nature. "You see, I have a hobby," he said calmly, his voice chillingly detached. "I collect things, cars, and people." Realization crashed over John like a tidal wave. He had walked right into the lair of a serial killer. Panic surged through him as he realized he was trapped in this nightmare. Thinking quickly, John reached for the can of pepper spray he carried for self-defense. He unleashed a powerful stream of the stinging substance into Richard's eyes, causing him to cry out in pain and stumble backward. Seizing the opportunity, John lunged at Richard, catching him off guard. A desperate struggle ensued, but John's adrenaline-fueled determination prevailed. He managed to overpower his captor and pinned him to the ground. With Richard incapacitated, he quickly untied the girl and helped her to her feet. Together, they made a daring escape from the barn, running through the dark fields as fast as their legs could carry them. They knew that Richard, the deranged serial killer, would not let them go easily. As they reached the edge of the farm, they heard Richard's enraged screams in the distance. But they had gained precious time, and they managed to flag down a passing car, pleading for help. The driver, a kind stranger, called the police, and John and the young woman were finally safe. Richard was arrested, and his gruesome crimes were exposed. In the end, John not only found the car of his dreams, but also a new lease on life. He had narrowly escaped the clutches of a Craigslist killer, and in the process, he had saved the life of a fellow victim. But the horrors of that day would forever haunt his dreams, a reminder of the sinister bargain he had unknowingly entered into when he sought his dream car on Craigslist.